Hello, my friend. I'm Kiddo, and today I'm sat here with Alexander, otherwise known as Faded AU. You may have seen him from this conversation that was earlier on our channel, but today I've asked Alex if we can go through his 400 plus piece collection. He's picked a small selection, and we're going to get into it right now. Let's do it. What are the most expensive teas you currently have on hand?
Most expensive, right? So starting off strong, it's not always about the money, but I know people are always really intrigued by what's expensive, why is it expensive, is it rare, is it collectible? But I thought there's no place better to start the video off than with probably the most recognizable, most hyped, not the most expensive, but one of the most expensive shirts out there. This shirt consistently now for, how many years has it been? Like 5, 6 years has fetched in excess of, 1,000, 2, 3, to the point where it's up to, $4,000 or $5,000 now. It's the Nirvana heart-shaped box shirt. Definitely, it's a bit of an eyesore for some people. People hate it, people love it. But all in all, an incredibly iconic shirt. I think, in the vintage community, all over prints are relatively rare, comparatively to, the normal tour shirts and things that you see. But this one in particular, really vibrant, depending on where it's printed in the world. There's a lot of different variations. I prefer, and I'm probably a little bit biased to it, I prefer the Australian version. Obviously, this one's on the Acme tag, the classic Australian tag. I think you and me have had this conversation quite a few times. What is the best tag? And I know a lot of people really resonate with this one. But an incredible shirt, super sought after. I've been lucky enough to have quite a few come through in my time. But I probably went 2 or 3 years without getting one, and then recently this came into the collection, and it's definitely not going away anytime soon. So I feel very privileged to have this one. It's got a great story behind it. The woman that I bought it from, her dad purchased it for her when she was a kid. And on the back side of the tag, it's got her name because she went to boarding school, so she had to write her name on all the clothes. So it adds a bit of history to the shirt as well. But definitely a very to tea that brings up conversation. Some people hate it because the hype. A lot of people say, expensive teas, Kurt would have hated it, all that sort of stuff. So there's always a lot of conversations about this shirt. But I think all in all, it's an incredible shirt. It's something that I never thought I would, when I got into vintage, I never thought I'd own one of these. Because at the time it was $500, and I was only buying $20, $30, $40 teas. So spend $500 on a shirt, let alone it now be worth $5,000, it was unattainable. So, when I look at this, I think of, wow, how far I've come. Not because of the monetary value, though, the money's always, it's not important. It's more so an image of, this is something I never thought I would have, and now to have it, that's why it's significant for me. So it's a beautiful shirt, and like I said, a big conversation piece. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. So I thought it'd be a perfect way to kick off the video, though.
Absolutely. And maybe there's somebody watching who doesn't quite understand the vintage pricing. Maybe they're not in the scene. Can you please break down how a t-shirt can be worth $100, why a t-shirt is worth 500, and then in this case where it's worth thousands of dollars, where does the pricing actually come from?
It's a great question. And as a seller, it's something that I've wanted to understand for a long time, but I've never got a good grasp of it. I think being in Australia, obviously we have a really good vintage community, a really good market of people, but a lot of the trends that we see here generally come from overseas, right? So the Asian market's huge. They sort of dictate a lot of what's popular, what's hype. Same with the US market as well. And then as a result of that, it eventually trickles down to Australia. So, you sort of see periods where some shirts will shoot off, they become really popular. And, there's nothing necessarily that triggers those things. Sometimes, unfortunately, when people die, people are like, oh, I want to get their tees. Obviously, recently Ozzy passed. So I noticed in particular a lot of people buying Ozzy Osbourne shirts that I had sitting on my website. No one ever cared about him. Then he passed away and they wanted to buy them. So things like that can trigger it. But, the last couple of years, I'm a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. I've bought a lot of Red Hot Chili Pepper tees. They were never crazy expensive. They were never anything insane. I remember, the 1 Hot Minute shirt, the poster with all 4 of them. I used to buy that and what's up for $180. And then overnight, literally like that, they took off and now it's $1,000 t-shirt. And it's not like any of the band members died. It's not like they took a hiatus. There was nothing like that. There wasn't a new album cycle. They just got popular. And since then they've continued to get more expensive. So I think in terms of trends in every single market come and go, right? There's nothing you can really do about that. But in terms of where they get the value from, I wish there was a recipe. I wish there was an ingredient, like some way to really determine exactly how it goes, but it doesn't. Things take off. During COVID, rap tees went crazy, Disney tees went crazy, and then people sort of didn't want them anymore. So a lot of the time, the monetary side aligns with the hype, as sad it is to say. As things get more hype, they get more expensive because people are like, oh, he's got that shirt, I want that shirt. And they start buying it, and then obviously the supply goes up, and the demand on this is it's pretty stagnant, right? You're not going to get more vintage shirts just popping up out of nowhere. So there's certain events that can impact the market, but generally it's because, you know, either someone posted it and they're like, oh wow, that's a cool shirt, and then people become more aware of the band, might be, and that spikes the price. But there's really no formula. And you know, you can have a tour shirt from 1992 from one band and a tour shirt from 1992 another band. Tour hits on the back, visually great graphics on both the front. One could be $1,000 shirt, one could be a $50, $60 shirt. So there's really no way of determining what a shirt's worth besides what the market's asking for. If people want the shirt, you know, there's a lot of bands that have really great shirts. You know, U2, for example, popular band, toured a lot of music, a lot of albums, a lot of really good shirts, but people just don't really care about them. Same with Bon Jovi, a lot of the Beatles stuff, you know, one of the most iconic bands of all time, but it doesn't necessarily translate to a financial, you know, for price-wise. So it's interesting. There's a lot of factors, but it's very interesting. It's a question I always ask myself. So yeah, it's a good one though.
Yeah. So do you want to show us some more teeth?
Yes. So I've picked out three expensive ones. The second one is this 1992 Ride bootleg Australian Tour shirt, which is an incredible shirt. In the last probably 2 years, I'd say Ride shirts have started to go crazy. This is one that I picked up locally in Melbourne. The tag's faded out, but a really beautiful, really vibrant front graphic. And then what I love is the Australian back hit, and it's got the specific nightclubs and shows that they played at. Like you got Perth nightclub where they played, Old Line Hotel, Transformers in Brisbane. So I think you know, I think Australians obviously having details like this make shirts more significant. But all in all, just a really crazy tee. This one's sort of around the $3,500 mark at the moment. A couple of years ago, probably wouldn't have been worth around that. But like I said, with the hype around Ride tees, it's just rocketed up. So this one's a really, really crazy one. I wish it fit me. It's a little bit looser of a neck than I would have liked. But yeah, just crazy vibrant graphic. It's got a really nice fade. I do like it sometimes with the collar and the shirt don't necessarily line up color-wise. It's got a really nice fade to the collar. And I love like a black on black print, and the fact that the text is really dark, very, very subtle, but you know, these really nice pops of color. It's a great tee, and yeah, one again that's very expensive. So
very rare variation.
Very rare.
As well.
Yeah, I've seen posters with this artwork, but I've never seen it on a shirt. So I went into a record store recently, and the guy had this poster. Right, I don't know if I mentioned this to you. Had this poster, same back hit, but down the bottom, all the shows, but t-shirt version. I'd never seen it. So bootleg from one of the shows. I'm not sure where it was purchased. I bought it here in Melbourne. I didn't really ask too much about it when I bought it, which I regret now. But a crazy, crazy tee. So that's one that most people probably haven't seen. And then this is another somewhat recent. I picked up this year into the collection. I'll start from the back so I don't reveal it yet. But you know, a band that I mentioned before that I've been collecting for a really long time. And this specific print was one that I'd been chasing for forever. You know, there's specific prints that don't come up very often. This is one of those. And then I had someone reach out to me and said he wanted to sell it. And it is the Red Hot Chili Peppers sperm shirt, I guess you call it, on the top heavy tag, size extra large. So again, an Australian tag makes it all that much better. But again, really crazy, vibrant graphic. This was from 1990, I believe. Yeah, 1990. Just that, like, a crazy shirt.
Unreal.
A crazy shirt, because it screams Red Hot Chili Peppers. But I think the way I see Red Hot Chili Peppers, when you see them perform on stage, they're all over the place. They're crazy. It's vibrant. There's so much energy, and I feel like this shirt captures that. You know, the really vibrant colors. And although it's very similar to obviously a lot of the other Red Hot Chili Pepper shirts with just the logo asterisks, the addition of like the splatters and the sperm, I just think it's a really crazy shirt, and it fits me. So like I love it because of that as well. But great tee, and the fact that it's on top heavy as well just adds to it. So that was the other one that I pointed out. Probably value, but talking about value. Yeah. Again, Red Hot Chili Peppers blown up over the last couple of years. This is one that when I bought it, it was sort of around the $1,000 mark, and this was probably, it was the start of this year, so it wasn't that long ago. But recently I saw one sell for, I think, like 2.8K Australian. So like a huge...
Insane.
Yeah, insane. And again, nothing necessarily has happened to the band that's made them blow up other than people just buying and trading the shirts. So definitely a personal one that I would never sell. Because yeah, I know if I sold it, I wouldn't find it again, let alone in my size. So that's one that I love. On the track of rare t-shirts that people may not have ever seen. People that have been following me for a long time will know two things I predominantly collect: Queen shirts and mask tees. And I had a crazy collection of mask shirts, but they got to the point where they were so expensive that it was sort of like this adult decision I had to make. Do I want to buy a house or do I want to have 20 mask tees? You know what I mean? So I decided on the house option, which I, am enjoying now. But in the same token, there was some of these. There was two in particular I didn't want to sell, this being one of them. It is this incredible mask movie promo from '94. And the thing that makes this one special is a lot of the mask tees you'll see were all produced and they all look very, very similar. So you have a graphic from, either over his face or a sort of cartoon graphic of some sort. But this is like a full body, real life depiction, crazy, crazy detail in the graphic, really nice wear, great size, flowy shirt. So when this one came in, this was like, I'm never selling this one. And again, it's one that a lot of people haven't seen. Whenever I did post it back in the day, people were always like, oh my God, I've never seen this variation, because there is like that run of probably 10 or 15 mask tees that you sort of see on a consistent basis. Not that they're not rare. They're all very rare, but this print in particular, I've probably only seen one or two other ones. Yeah. And I just love it. And for me, it's like the pinnacle of mask collecting is this shirt. Like it's just an insane tee. The tag is cut, so I'm not exactly sure what it did come on, but it does have the New Line Productions licensing. But I think it's like a variation print off the main line. So crazy one. It doesn't have a back graphic, which I sort of like. It's nice and simple, nice and clean, but just all in all, like a crazy tee. And I think anyone that sort of appreciates the movie appreciates this shirt. So one I'm very happy to have. And yeah, it's still, every time I post it, which is very, very rarely, people always ask about it. I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen this. Where's it from? Like, what's the origin? But it's a really, really crazy one. So that's one. And then what have I got next? Now, this is a shirt. Now, the print itself, people have definitely seen. It's one of, it's always been a hyped or really popular shirt, a very significant album for the band. So the shirt has always carried a big, monetary value behind it. And I've had quite a few of them come to the store. But this one in particular I got recently, and I've never seen it bar a few photos back in the day, like quite a while ago. But it's actually the blank version, which makes it special. It's the long sleeve version. Now, I know you and I were talking about it very briefly yesterday. You always see the short sleeve version, still, very rare, very collectible shirt. But to find a long sleeve is just insane. Obviously, the album artwork on the front, and then if you flip it over to the back, it's got the Super Unknown. Very, very simple tee, not much, graphic-wise, but just an insane shirt. I had a short sleeve version back in the day that I thrashed, and then the neck got too loose and I ended up selling it, which I regret because I loved that shirt. But this one in particular is on a Brockham blank. So it's one of the Australian Brockham blanks. So made in China, but it's got the Acme Sydney licensing in there. And, the fact it's a long sleeve. I think when it comes to collections, people always want something different. You know what I mean? The little point of differences, which really makes things stand out. And for me, having this one in, it's one that, I've seen this shirt a lot, but never the long sleeve. I've probably seen two ever. So when the opportunity to buy it came up, I was like, yeah, I have to get it. Wasn't necessarily, I'm not too sure on its value. I don't know where it would sort of sit. The short sleeves sit around the $1,500 mark. So I don't know how much the long sleeve version impacts it, but it's not something I've looked into because I'm not necessarily looking to sell it. So it's definitely a special one. And I've only sent it out to a few people to show them, and everyone's been like, holy shit, I've never seen a long sleeve version. That's crazy. But and from my understanding, the only licensed long sleeve was an Australian one. So the two others I've seen have always been on a Brock and Blank as well. So all in all, just another crazy one. But I really love that one. And then, now this one I think has a bit of a soft spot with yourself because I did buy this shirt from you maybe 5 years ago probably. It was before I did the big Nirvana drop. Yeah, so it was 5 years, and I think, did I pick this up from you in Queens, or you shipped the box to me, didn't you?
I shipped you. Yeah, you picked up a different tee. We shipped this one.
Yeah. Yes. So
reluctantly though.
I know, but I've taken care of it.
I remember messaging you and being like, "Hey, the Express. I put Express on it. Like, let me know. Here's when it arrives." Yeah. I was checking the track
because we didn't really know each other at that point, right? We hadn't. This was probably the first sort of time that we'd started speaking, and this was in anticipation of the Nirvana drop. At that time, I feel like everyone was messaging me to sell Nirvana shirts because they knew what I was trying to do, which made it so much easier. Made my job in life so much easier. But I know you had probably, I think I maybe bought 7 shirts off you. So it was like a heart-shaped box in Utero. Did I get the Roskilde from you as well?
No, not the Roskilde. There was the Nevermind as well.
Yes, yep, Nevermind, yeah. There was a Kurt tee in there, I think, as well.
Yes.
There was an accumulation of really good Nirvana shirts. which nowadays,
To see all of them
to
together
see all of them
again, you're
together
like,
is like
oh.
insane. Like I still remember the photo you posted of them all on the fence. Like it's insane. But I'll cut the chit chat. It is this beautiful Utero shirt. Now
Now,
people
what
see
makes it
this,
special?
yeah.
Yeah.
People see the Utero shirt, and it's like I've seen it. And again, sort of what I said about the heart-shaped box. This shirt to me is the same. This shirt at the time was $500 as well when I started, and I was like, I'll never own that shirt. Like that is the grail. The heart-shaped box and the Utero are incredible. I'll never have one of those. So again, when I see this shirt now, it's an ode back to my younger self. But so what makes this shirt special? You've seen it. The colors in this variation are beautiful. It's very similar to the European version, which has really vibrant, really nice colors. The giant Brockham and stuff, it's a little less saturated, so the print isn't as nice. But this one is on an Acme tag, which again, extra large Australian Acme tag. A lot of us Aussies really appreciate these tags. But the thing that makes this special is the back of the shirt. And it's got the classic hit, but then it's got this portrait or this photo of Kurt. And I don't think we really have a definitive origin story on it. So I bought it from you. You bought it from overseas from Ubeck.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure where Ubeck got it from.
And then Ubek told me that it come from an OG fan from Australia who had gotten drunk and printed this on the back.
Well, there you go. Okay,
Which
so
is
that's the
so
story.
random. It's
Yeah.
so random, but like you would think this may be an official print, but they've taken the official tee
Yeah,
and they've done their own print, and it's actually turned out really good.
yeah. And the thing is that like it might not translate on video, but you look at this shirt and the wear in the print,
It suits the tee.
it suits the tee exactly. So like it looks as if it left the factory with this print. So that was sort of what I understood, was that someone had printed along the way. I wasn't exactly sure where. But when I got this shirt off you, I was just like, again, because it was one of the first Uteros that I had. It was the first on the Acme tag. You don't really see many on the Acme tag. There's not many out there. But with the back print as well, I was like, if I sell this, I know it's one of one. There's no other ones out there. So, and it's a point of difference. It's a classic, beautiful shirt, but I think it actually works
Tiny
with
little
the photo as well. So it's a really special one. I know a lot of people overseas really want it, but unfortunately I can't have it because I just love this shirt. It's a very special one. So that's why I pointed it out. And it's sort of one of those shirts that people haven't seen it, but people, like I said, will never own it because I'm not selling it. So I guess that's probably a good segue into, I picked a few shirts that in my personal collection that I've accumulated over the years that I would never sell. The first one is probably, I showed this to you yesterday and I said, print wise, it's not my favorite all time print. It is obviously one of my favorite shirts ever, but this specific shirt itself, because the wear, everything about it, the story behind it, it is probably, I would say it is my favorite ever shirt that I've ever come across along the way. And I've had thousands of t-shirts. I've had thousands of t-shirts, and I'm happy when I got this one. There was just something special about it, and I never sold it because I'll pull it out. But you will never see another one like this. No matter what, it will never happen. So it is, again, a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt. I don't think I really need to say much about it. The fade, the print. So the tag's cut, but it's originally on a top-heavy tag. And the top-heavy variation of this shirt, the colors are very different, right? So traditionally the roses and the text is red, whereas on this one, it's almost, well, it's not almost, it is a really nice fluorescent orange color. And because of the fade, it looks incredible. It's got a beautiful fit, really nice and draped. It's incredibly soft. It's got the thickest of collars, the mock neck look, and then also the back of it, like just crazy, amazing distressing, really vibrant colors, and it's the perfect t-shirt. My wife wears it all the time. She loves it. It doesn't fit me how I would like, but she gets to enjoy it, and every time she wears it, I get incredibly jealous. But again, this is a shirt that I could never part ways with. It's just too insane.
Can you talk to me about some of the memories that are now attached to this particular shirt as well?
Yeah, well, this shirt seems to pop up at a lot of significant moments. So like I said, my wife wears it all the time. When we had the opportunity to meet Travis Barker when he was down in Melbourne with Blink last year, Bronte ended up wearing this shirt. And then coincidentally, when we met Travis Scott, she was also wearing this shirt. So like when I see it, there's a lot energy. Exactly right. Because it's sort of like, you pick it up, put it on, you're wearing the best. Like no shirt could ever compete with this. You know what I mean? No matter the monetary value. Like I said, Red Hot Chili Peppers has shot up recently, but there's not a price tag you can put on this. You know what I mean? Like the last few long sleeves I've had, of the album, I think I've sold around the $2,000 mark. If someone offered me 4,000, I wouldn't sell this. If someone said 5,000, I wouldn't sell it. Like this shirt, it's a beautiful t-shirt. It's truly for me, it's a one of a kind, and there's so many memories associated with this that it's almost like a trophy. You know what I mean? I look back and I'm like, it's just it has so much meaning behind it. So I love this t-shirt, but it's just a special one. I've posted it a lot over the years. Recently, when I posted the reel of all the Red Hot Chili Pepper shirts that are going to be at the pop-up, because this will be at the pop-up, it's going to be on display. People won't be able to purchase it, unfortunately for them. But people always message me. Like I would have had 20 people message me being like, is that a long sleeve? Because it was like a video of me pulling teeth, so you couldn't see. Like, is that for sale? Is that for sale? I was like, no, it's going to be on display. It's going to be on display. It always lets people down, but it's just such a great tee.
Can you talk to me about how you ended up with this tee?
Yeah, so funny story actually. I'm gonna put it down because my arm is dying. But I bought it off Marketplace. But this was a really long time ago. I don't usually go on Marketplace too often, to be honest, because I don't know. I feel like I don't find a lot. My algorithm doesn't like me very much, so it ends up just being a waste of my time. I prefer to buy it off the person who bought it off Marketplace. But I remember a guy posted a shirt and I messaged him. I said, hey, like, is this still available? Like, arranged a deal with him. I said, do you have any other shirts? And he sent me a photo. And I still remember it was like a 1 pixel photo. It was terrible. It was incredibly dark.
Shot
The
on a
room was,
potato.
yeah, oh, even worse than a potato. It was fucking weird dirt or something. But the photo, it was his bed. And then all these tees laid down. And there was like 8 tees total. And it was that. It was a Dinosaur Jr. shirt. It was a Soundgarden Super Unknown shirt. It was a bunch of like incredible t-shirts, sort of ranging from between 92 to 96. But the thing is, the photo was so low quality, and I didn't want to go back and forth because he wasn't asking crazy money or anything like that. So I just said, all right, I'll take the risk. I'll buy them all. So I bought them all. I think this was years ago. So like that probably would have only been retail price like $400. Like it wasn't an expensive tee.
It wasn't the same level as it is now.
Oh, nowhere near. So he came back to me and he was like, it was like $60. It was $60 per shirt or something like that, along those lines. I can't really remember, but I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Like it's worth the risk. The shirt I knew I was buying sort of would have covered it. So I was like, yeah, like I'm happy with that. And picked it up. They all got here and they were all legit. They were all from the era. And look, back in the day, a lot of the shirts only really sold for like 200, 300. So it's not like they were $1,000, $2,000 shirt, which they are now. So it was a good deal, but not the craziest deal. But that one was just like, that was the creme de la creme, was the best of the best. And I haven't sold it since. And like I said, I never would. So that's another one.
Before we move on to the next shirt, Alex, can you talk to me about how you've seen the market change from since when you started to now today? This weekend you're doing your very first pop-up. So talk to me about the change in the market since the time you've been in.
Well, the market shifts so much and it's very hard to keep up with the market because, like I said, things just blow up out of nowhere, right? And obviously, my job is to maintain an idea of where the market's moving and obviously try to appeal to people as much as what's popping off in the market. So I try to do as much as I can with, while sticking true to what I appreciate, what I like, and what I like to sell. But I think over the last couple of years, because we sort of saw people had, cash in their back pocket, that they weren't going out the house. What else are you supposed to do with it? Buy vintage tees. Why not? So I think that really catapulted the market in terms of people asking stupid prices for things and getting stupid money for them. Because before then, I feel like t-shirts sort of sat between the $50 to $200 mark, band tees, right? You had obviously the Nirvanas and like things that went a lot higher than that, of course. But it feels like now there's so many more shirts that are so much more expensive. You know what I mean? There's so many shirts that are demanding a high price and people are willing to pay for it because as soon as you break the seal, so to speak, like when I started, I spent $50 on a tee and I was like, fuck, that's a lot of money. And then I spent $75. I was like, okay, that's only $25 more than what I've spent. It's nothing.
You keep going,
100, 200, and it keeps going, right? So when you've spent $500 on a shirt, it's easy to spend $300 on a shirt. You know what I mean? So I think people got used to spending more money, and not to say they're getting better shirts. All these shirts, everything in this era, the quality again. The quality is amazing. The story behind the shirts, they're a piece of tangible history. That's the way I've always seen the shirts, right? So that's never changed. What's changed, I think, is the normality around spending a lot of money for shirts. And, people always say, it's crazy to spend this much money, which, I completely agree. Some of these shirts are so expensive. But the one thing I love about vintage is it's not like you're buying it and you lose your money, right? You buy a new car, take it out of the lot, it's lost, 40%, 30%, whatever it might be. You can buy a vintage tee, wear it for a year, most likely its price is going to go up, or you can sell it for the same price. It's very rare that things drop. You know, out of COVID, obviously we saw like Disney tees and rap tees drop a lot, but generally it's a pretty stable market. So you can buy things, wear them, appreciate them, and then like, all right, I'm done with this now. I've got what I needed out of the shirt, and then you can sell it. So that's something that people don't realize. It's almost like, and this isn't financial advice at all, but it's almost like the way I see it is like your money sort of sits there in that piece. And then when it's time to move on, you trade it because it holds that value. You can trade it, sell it, get something else. So that's something I love about it as well. But I think when people understand that, they become very comfortable spending money because they know it sort of holds there. It's not like they're just going to lose it, which is the difference. You know, a lot of people that buy like designer stuff, as soon as you buy it off the shelf, you can't then sell it. You know, you can't go in and spend $800 on a Gucci t-shirt and then sell it for $800. People aren't paying $800 for a tee, you know? So it holds a lot of its value. And like I said, I think as people got more comfortable spending that money, it got easier to spend, and that's sort of continued on. So that's probably why the market is like it is now. But yeah, a lot of money's moving around from t-shirt. A lot of the time it's seller to seller, to be honest. We're always buying the same shirts as each other and moving them around. But yeah, it's changed a lot, as you know, you and I have both seen over the last 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been now. It goes by like that though.
So, Alex, talk to me about some more tees that you would never sell.
Never sell. So there's a few tees that the shirts in my personal collection, I think people probably expect it to be crazy hype, insane shirts, when in reality, I just like what I like, right? Because a shirt's incredibly hype doesn't mean I necessarily like the shirts. You know, I like things that resonate with me, whether it, Mask or Queen, you know, a band I listened to growing up because my dad was a huge fan, or the movie because I watched it growing up. So like for me, this is a shirt that I had very early days that I sold and regretted it. So now I'll never sell it. And it's a shirt that I really appreciate, but some people wouldn't because it's not probably the most good looking shirt, to be honest. But it's this Queen, a kind of magic all over print. Crazy vibrant shirt. It's not necessarily something that people would wear. Like I haven't really worn this shirt, to be honest, but a shirt that I really appreciate, and it's something that I would not sell. Crazy colors, really crazy all over print. This is probably one of the best Queen tour shirts. So not the all over print version, but the actual tour version itself. Crazy, crazy graphic. Obviously, it's the album artwork, but this is a crazy one. People probably wouldn't appreciate it as much because it is so out there. But I think Queen fans, a lot of the Japanese market, because they're huge Queen collectors, they really appreciate the band. They love this shirt. And in terms of Queen collecting, this is sort of like the pinnacle. And I regretted selling one back in the day because I thought when I had it, I sold it and there was other ones available. Then as soon as I sold mine, the market cleaned. Not that I've had anything to do with that, but other people bought the other ones. And then it took me like a good 2 years to get this back. So this is one that I would never sell again because it's just, again, it signifies a certain period of time. And this is one of the first shirts that I bought as faded. So it reminds me a lot of when I first started and what I was into and what I continue to be into. So this is definitely one of them. And leading on to that, there's some other Queen shirts. Obviously, Freddie Mercury is, I think, the greatest frontman of all time. And this is one of, I think, the best Freddie tee. Long sleeve, really simple graphic, black and white, really nice color hits. And then we've got the sleeve hits, the show must go on. Again, people probably would pass this, not really think much of it, but this is a shirt that I really, really appreciate. It's one that I really love. I've got the short sleeve version. And, I used to wear this a lot. I haven't worn it for a long time now. But after seeing it now, I sort of want to wear this tonight. So it's just a crazy, crazy tee. I love anything to do with Queen, but this is one that I've had for a while. And then a shirt that probably everyone has seen. I feel like I've worn this shirt anytime I'm on camera. I'm usually wearing this shirt, and it's this. Here it is. It's this Misfits Crimson Ghost, just insane. Like the thing I love about this shirt is it's a relatively big graphic, but it's a simple graphic. You know, it's a single image with a big text hit. And then on the back, we've obviously got the big scale. But this one glows in the dark like crazy. I think I've showed it to you before. If you put a flashlight up to it, it literally glows like you could light up a room with it basically. But it's on an old Wild Oats blank. It's got a really good fade. When I bought it, it was pretty black, to be honest. But I've just worn it so much that it's slowly over time started to fade. And the fit of this, I'm a big fit person. I really want things to fit how I like it. And this is one of those shirts that is just perfect. And I would never sell this just mainly because the fit. You can find this shirt online, but to find one that fits and is just like perfectly nice, subtle fade, it wouldn't go no matter what anyone offered me because I love this shirt. And again, I think anytime people think of me, this is the shirt they've probably seen me in. So It's a really, really good one. But then I guess, my collection really varies a lot. I'm probably known for the Queen mask sort of stuff, but I appreciate a wide variety. I love this. I've got this Tupac rap tee, one of the more unique prints, I think. This was originally on a Bay Club blank. When I got it, it was dead stock, but you can see like how much I've worn it now. I used to wear it to the gym a lot because I wanted to like thrash it and get it, faded. But if you hold it up to another black tee, it's sort of got a nice little subtle fade now, but really great front graphic. I love the back on this even better. The Don Machiavelli, crazy one. So I do like my rap tees, but I'm very selective. I used to have a lot of Bulls rap tees, but they were too sort of vibrant, which sounds crazy because this is very vibrant.
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly what I was sort of into at the time, so I got rid of them and I've sort of refined down. So I've got that one. I've got this, which is one that I was looking for a really long time, the Princess Diana rap tee. Again, really simple shirt, but one that I really love. I love the back graphic. Yeah, it's insane. Cool. It's insane. There's two Diana tees. This is the one that I like better out of the two. But again, this is one that you really don't see very often, to be honest. It doesn't pop up at all. But just a crazy tee. It's a really insane one. I love it. I love it. It's simple graphic, but again, really nice fit. I think it was originally on it's still on it, the HBT tag. And again, just a really nice fit. Fit's important for me, so that's one that I wouldn't get rid of. And then we've also got, again, a lot of Chili Peppers. I love the 1990 prints that they did. Simple graphics, black and white graphics with usually a nice vibrant text hit. This one's on a giant tag, extra large, really nice fit on those. And then it's got the the traditional asterisk, which we sort of saw earlier on the sperm shirt. But I love that one. I wear that a lot. And then so this is probably the most worn of my Red Hot Chili Peppers tees. Again, very similar, simple black and white graphic. They look also young here, with a nice big text hit. Again, giant TJ's tag. And then as you flip it over, you've got the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I do prefer when it does have the two-tone back graphic. So you've got the red and the white. And all the Australian prints have that, but all the US ones are just the red. It doesn't have the white in the logo at all.
That's some game.
Yeah, it's something that I noticed when I started picking them up. And then I'll show you one more Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I was sort of telling the story about this one yesterday. I ended up picking this up on eBay. I do need to add a collar to it. I need to get a collar added. But the white version, like you never, they pop up a little bit, I feel like, in Asia, but they're not that frequent. But the thing that I love about this one the most, and the reason I wouldn't sell this one, is because the tour hit. The Australian tour hit, like, is crazy. And I've only ever seen this with the logo on the back, which most of them are. I've never seen this back graphic. It is insane. And it's just, like, when I showed it to you yesterday, you were like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy.
As an Australian collector, you look at, the hype tees, but there's another layer when you see the Australian tag, and then 100%. You also see Australian tour dates on the back.
100%. It makes a big difference.
With this one, and also the Nirvana Nevermind you had with the Australian tour on the back. Can you explain, why are those considered more rare in the Australian community specifically? Is it because there's just far less quantity of them? Like they're just rarer?
I think so. Like you look at the States, right? When people toured the States, I don't know off the top of my head how many states and cities they have, but that tour in itself was like a world tour. You see a lot of the time you see a world tour shirt and it's just like the US and Europe, right? Whereas in Australia, people come here, they would do a night in Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, and potentially Queensland. So you'd get 4 or 5, like you wouldn't really get much, you know what I mean? So like I think even on that,
like something like that is in far less quantity than
100%. And usually you have New Zealand with Australia, so they sort of get grouped together. But you can see the amount of shows for like how big Australia is. Like again, we got Perth, Brisbane, Auckland, Wellington, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. That's it. Right? That's it. 6, 7 shows. That's the whole leg, right?
Yeah.
So when you compare that to in the States or in Europe, where they would stop in so many different countries, so many different cities, we got really small runs. And for some reason, when people came to Australia, they did different variations. You know what I mean? So the Australian shirts are very different to the European shirts and also the American shirts. So you look at, the Nirvana Nevermind shirt, everywhere in the world has a track list on the back. Whereas Australia and New Zealand got the dates, which again, there's nowhere else in the world. There is a Spanish version that has Madrid, Barcelona, it has 3 shows on there. But I think from my understanding, I think that is a bootleg. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not very knowledgeable. It's not a shirt I've ever had. But Australia was the only one that really had the dates on it. So we seem to get different variations of shirts. And I think it's taken a really long time for the overseas market to sort of tap into Australia because the dollar's so much weaker here. So a lot of the shirts are cheaper and they're cooler variations as well. So I'll stand by that forever. So again, that's the perfect example of that. And a shirt that I really, really love. I need to send it overseas to get it, to get the collar put back on and get it looking good again. But then another shirt that, I sort of spoke briefly about the Beatles earlier, but this is one of my favorite t-shirts in my collection. I think it's from 89. It just, it's a music tee, but I also see it as like an art tee. You know what I mean?
The pink.
It stands out so nicely. It's got the Stedman blank. I haven't seen another one like this. Again, I don't think this would be an expensive shirt or a rare shirt, but I really love the graphic in this. I really love black and white prints with the pop of color. And I think pink is probably not something many people have seen me in. I don't really wear pink very often. If not, this would probably be the only reason I'll be wearing pink. So I'm usually always just in black, basically. But I love this t-shirt. There's something about it I really like. And again, Beatles tees don't demand a crazy high price, and I think they should because incredibly influential band. You look at a lot of bands, sort of in that 70s, 80s era. So many of them pulled inspiration from the Beatles. Like I was watching, after Ozzy passed, I was doing a bit of a deep dive and just learning more about him. And he was a huge Beatles fan, which is something I never would have put two and two together, to be honest with you. And he was talking about how influential they were. And if it wasn't for the Beatles, he would have never done what he did. So I sort of see them as pioneers in the space. And I just don't think they get the recognition that they deserve. And that ties into another shirt that I think I have here. It is a Paul McCartney one specifically.
Yeah, this one's clean.
Insane. So it's from the New World Tour. And it's on the Acme tag, which is, this used to be my favorite Acme tag. Because when I started, a lot of the shirts I was getting was on this tag, the Metallica, and a lot of the Guns N' Roses, 93, 94 tours were always on this tag. So I started falling in love with that tag. But this one in particular, really crazy fade. And just, again, not a subtle graphic, it's a huge graphic, but simple icon of Mary, but she's wearing a helmet, which most people don't realize. And then it's got biker like an icon on the back. Again, a shirt that I've had for a really long time now and I really, really love. And yeah, I don't think that Beatles tees get the appreciation that they deserve, because they are just so insane. Another one, sorry, I've gone on a bit of a tangent here. There's a lot of shirts that I like. This one was one that I traditionally bought for the store, but again, had a really nice fit. I don't have many white tees in my collection. And this one, really good graphic,
This
black
one
and white.
I hadn't seen before you showed
Yeah,
me. So this
yeah.
one's very
So it's from '94. It's from Euthanasia. I think this is the tour one. Or might be, no, yeah, it is from the World Tour. So it's one that you really don't see very often. Generally, the Euthanasia tour shirts or the album shirts just have a big Megadeth hit with the baby sort of falling. But this is obviously some tour variation, and I just love it. Again, on the Acme tag.
when it's on the red Acme.
Yeah, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be good. So a really good fit. And again, not too loud. Nice, clean, black graphic. And then, lost that one there. And then a nice back hit as well. So, really simple, really good tee. And then I guess this probably leads us into another Australian shirt that I want to show you. In Excess. Now, in terms of Australian bands, In Excess are probably one of my favorites. My wife loves them. I didn't really listen to them before I met her, but then a lot of my musical tastes have sort of come from her. She's introduced me to a lot of bands that I wasn't traditionally listening to. But I got this shirt quite a while ago. Again, it was one for the store, and it fit me nicely. It's a really good print, and it's got the big back text, which I really, really like. It's on the Sports Road blanks, which I don't traditionally like because it's a 2XL one, and they usually have the slits down here, which I'm not a huge fan of. But on this shirt, it just works. I don't know what it is, but really good, vibrant graphic. But there's so many Australian bands that I think are underappreciated. They don't really sell for crazy money, which is always a great thing, right? If something that you appreciate and something that you like is cheap, jump on it while you can, because there's not really crazy AC/DC shirts or In Excess shirts that are selling for $300, $400, $500, $600. Like there's a select handful, mainly AC/DC, so they're all over print. But Silverchair is probably one that obviously has taken off. They're relatively expensive now. But I think it's because they have that sort of association with Nirvana in that sort of era. That carries the same sort of fans. But all your AC/DCs, In Excess, they're just Very, very cheap. Midnight Oil even as well. They're the ones that you predominantly see tour shirts pop up here and there, but they don't fetch crazy money, which is good. You know, if you like the band, you want to collect it, now's the time to buy it, because I think as more people get into it, and I think more Australians are getting into it, they're going to go to those things that they have some sort of connection to, right? And it would have been something their parents were listening to, or, you know, they may have, you know, grown up listening to, well, that's basically what I just said, but predominantly things that they know. And AC/DC is such a, as soon as you think of Australian music, AC/DC is the one that people go straight to, you know, I think more so than In Excess probably. So I can imagine at some point their teas would rock it, you know.
Yeah.
But
So Alex, you mentioned Midnight Oil,
Mhm.
and it's not on the rack there right now, but I would love for you to show it.
Yes.
This is the single oldest Acme tag shirt I've seen.
Yes.
And we worked out it's from 82.
82, I believe, yes.
Unreal.
So it's a crazy shirt, and I knew that you'd really appreciate it, obviously, because if anyone that doesn't know, you've got an incredible guide of all the Acme and top heavy tags. But when I was talking to Lachlan from Surf and Turf the other day, and we were looking at the tag, and it was something that I hadn't really paid attention to be honest. And he's like, wow, this is a really old tag. And I was like,
Very old.
oh, wow, yeah, it is. I was like, I'd never seen it before. First thing we did was got on your website and looked up the guide, and we're like, oh, wow, it's not in there. So we're like, okay, this must be a really old one. But look, I don't know too much about the shirt. I know, I'm pretty sure it's from 82. It was designed by Taro. Oh, you said this better than I did yesterday.
I think it's Taro Manabe. So likely to be like a Japanese artist, I would say. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Wasn't in the Acme guide because this is precedes the Acme guide. So I'm guessing this is like mid 80s, early 80s. It's early.
It's very crazy. 100% cotton, made in Australia. It's a really impressive tag. It's impressive. So this is one that I thought you'd appreciate. So I should have added it onto the rack. But and yeah, really good graphic, really vibrant. I wish it was a bit bigger because it is quite small. But you know, I think
very cool tee.
Very cool tee. Very artistic tee. I think you can tell when, you know, thought has gone into a graphic, and generally you sort of just get album artwork or something that's nothing too interesting. Okay, so whereas when someone's designing it.
Speaking on vibrant artworks, do you want to show me a rare Mexican boot?
Yes, yeah, it's a perfect segue. So I got this in recently. A friend of mine, Lachlan, was overseas, and he bought it from a seller there in Thailand, and he sent it to me. And this one broke my neck. Honestly, it's a crazy graphic. Yeah. For those of you that sort of know, Mexican boots are insane. You've got the resurrection tags, the peyote, and they're always these really crazy, big screen printed, just colorful, vibrant, insane, basically all over prints. Like this is 95% of the way there to being an all over print, but insane front graphic. And then if you flip it over to the back as well, just a simple portrait. But this is one that I really love. I was going to put it in the pop-up, but I think it's just going to go on display because I don't think I want to sell it yet, just because I haven't seen one like this. I've seen a lot of the different, you know, Mexican boots, but this one in particular just has a look to it, and I really like it. I really like it. Every time I see it, I pick up a new detail. I'm like, oh, that's from that photo, that's from that tee. You know, if you look there, that's, you know, the blue one, the light blue tee, the giant one, like that's the graphic there. Like there's just so many little subtle
almost
things.
Like Easter eggs.
Yeah, like a lot of these in themselves are prints on other shirts that you can find. You know, 1, 2, this one here as well. So it's a really crazy one. I love it. It's got a nice thick sort of textured print to it as well. Again, color difference, you know, the fade, I really like it. But it's a really good tee. It's a really nice one. So I'm glad you pointed that out, because I had a section here of tees that I just thought people might like to see. Shall I run through those quickly?
Absolutely.
So Oasis recently back together. They're coming here at the end of the year. Actually, next month. We are at the end of the year. Yeah. So I bought these. I always, when I go to bands' concerts, I always like to wear an old shirt. So this one, I'll probably be wearing this one or the next one as well, which is another one. This is from 95 on the Artemonde tag. I'll wear either of these. But again, Oasis tees are always just very simple. Like 90% of them are just the simple logo or a text hit. So those two are really nice. Again, I think they might be on display at the pop-up. Depends how much wall space we have, we'll see. Now, another one that's really interesting, this sort of hits a few categories that we spoke about earlier, shirts that people haven't necessarily seen. This looks like a blank. Right?
Looks like a blank until.
Do you know what it is? Have I showed it to you?
You have not shown me this one yet.
If I show the back, maybe?
Ooh. Okay, I don't know this one.
Okay,
I'm gonna need
so
some background.
there was a series that they did in the 90s
Yes.
of musicians' tattoos, right? So you know you've got the
Okay.
Ozzy Osbourne all over print tattoo.
Yes.
This is the same, but it's Anthony from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wow.
So this is
Yeah. Okay.
his
Yeah.
tattoo. So it's got the which side is it? It's got the the
Yeah. Yeah.
tribal
Yeah.
sleeve. It's got the big back hit. So like this just looks
It's
like a
like
blank.
tattoos on a shirt.
Exactly right.
Very
Exactly
cool.
right. So there's the Aussie one. There's this one. There is another person. It'll come to me. But it's printed on a what is it? A heavyweight blank. Um, SR heavyweight blank, which was one I hadn't seen before. But I just thought, as a Chili Peppers fan, this is a really interesting one. I know not many people would have seen this. Again, really, really simple, but it's one of those pieces that sort of differentiates your collection again. Something a little bit different. So I thought that was worth pulling out. Thought that one was a little bit special. And then another one that I recently got in, classic '92 Dinosaur Jr. This one's crazy. Top heavy blank, really nice fade. Just overall, like you can sort of see as it fades down the shirt. But this was one that in that bundle I was sort of speaking about with the Red Hot Chili Peppers long sleeve. This was the print, not this specific shirt, but this was one of the prints that I picked up as well. And these have rocketed up in price recently as well. At the time I sold it, it was probably a $250, $300 tee. You can't find this for under like $2.5 grand now. So that just shows you how much the
Yeah.
market has changed on things like that as well. Another one that I think people will really appreciate, the Nine Inch Nails 94, 95
This is a personal
bootleg.
favorite for me with the Nine Inch Nails
Yeah,
tees. Just the colors, the
yeah,
vibrancy, just
yeah. And it's so true. Like, you can see this and be like, oh, that's a Nine Inch Nails shirt, which I know that sounds stupid to say, but sometimes you can see a band shirt and you're like, that's so that band. It's a bootleg, but it fits. It ticks all the
yeah,
boxes you'd
the
want in a
right
Nine Inch Nails set.
aesthetic. You
Exactly
know
right.
instantly it's not a conscious. Yeah.
Exactly right, and you can see it's got like cut tag. A lot of the cut tags means they were a bootleg. So a lot of people used to buy the shirts, cut them, and then print on them, which I don't understand
Yeah.
why, but it is what it is. But again, really nice fade on this one,
And the back.
and the back hit is just crazy. World tour, but again, world tour, and it's just the US dates. I usually like when they have a world tour and it's got every single show possible, but this is a crazy one. Really, really nice. So I thought people would like that one. And then this is another recent Chili Peppers tee I got in. I feel like 90% of these videos have been Chili Peppers. But again, Acme promo, really good one. Has the hit on the back. This is
A
a more
very
simple.
rare variation.
Yeah, very simple. And the guys are so young. So like John here basically looks like a baby. But yeah, really, really cool one. Nice crisp white tee as well. And then we've got, I'll go with this one and I'll finish on the other one. So, really early Smashing Pumpkin shirt. This is one that I got in recently as well from the Gish era, from the album. The thing about this shirt is it's on an Australian move tag. Now, the only things you
Super
see,
rare.
yes,
Super
yes.
rare.
The only thing, they came out of a specific record store. The name has just gone. It'll come back to me at some point. But the only time you'll see this tag is it's a very specific group of shirts. Like this, I know there's a Nirvana Bleach shirt. I know I think it's some Jane's Addiction, Stone Temple Pilots. Like there's a real variety on this shirt, on this tag, sorry, but it's only,
From that one store.
yes, it's only from that one store. So really, really crazy one. Again, I bought this one from a woman. She sent me a photo of it. I took a punt because she was asking a couple $100 for it. But I didn't know if it was real, fake. I just got the front graphic and I was like,
Let me try.
let's live a little
Yeah.
bit, let's live a little bit. And it came in and it's an incredible shirt. Really nice fade. Very subtle graphic, like not incredibly vibrant, but really simple. Only like two or three tones, two or three different colors, but really nice one. And then the last one that I picked out, again, classic Nirvana, really, really iconic image, I think. And then on the back, it's got the Sub Pop hit. This is one that I haven't really posted. I've just sort of had it for quite a while now. The neck's quite blown out, as you can see. But it's just a really crazy tee. And a lot of these early Nirvana ones now are just going crazy, going really crazy, especially when they have the Sub Pop hit on them. And this one, I guess, is no different, really. It's got a lot of demands. It's not one that you really see very often. I really like the fact, sort of mentioned it earlier with the ride shirt, the sort of dark graphic on the dark blank. I really like it. It doesn't stand out too much. You have to come up close and see. But, another crazy one. The Nirvana stuff's always crazy. You know, every time I get a Nirvana shirt in, I never thought I'd own a Nirvana shirt. So when I get one, I'm like, oh my god, like it's insane. And they're sort of the shirts that you get in and that people always want from overseas. It's the band that translates the most worldwide. You know, the Asian market love it, the American market love it, European market. Nirvana has been that band since I started that has just always carried through. You know, everyone gets a Nirvana shirt instantly. They're like, oh my god, this is the most expensive, crazy thing. Which some of them aren't. You know, there's a lot of more common prints that are still really really good. But you know, the Nirvana shirts just hold an incredible amount of value most of the time.
Yeah. So I guess my final question to you is for this video is if somebody is watching this right now and maybe they want to get started collecting vintage, they may have started in our position where we weren't spending $100 to $500 on a tee straight away.
Yeah,
we
100%.
were building up. We didn't just jump off the deep end with that. What is your advice to somebody who wants to start collecting vintage t-shirts? And how would you suggest that they approach that?
I think the best advice to give people is to stick true to what you love, right? It's very easy to get swayed and say, you know, oh, people are collecting this, I want to start collecting this, or this is where the market is, like I want to go that. I think when you're starting a page, when you want to sell, you should sell what you like because it makes it easy to do, right? When you're selling things you're passionate about, it's not work. You just enjoy doing it, right? So I think a really important thing is figure out what you like, and that takes trial and error. You know, when I started, I used to sell a variety of things. You know, when the page first begun, it was a lot of like Bulls tees, sort of pop culture tees, but the music tees was what I really enjoyed, right? So as I got a bigger market, like a group of people with eyes on the page, I could sort of start to be like, okay, this is what's working for me. The music stuff is what I like. It's what's resonating with people, and I actually care about it. So like that was an easy decision for me, right? So there's some people where they might really appreciate old Tommy stuff, sell old Tommy stuff, old Ralph stuff. If you're into your sports tees, if you're into whatever it is, you need to find what you like to sell because then it makes the whole process incredibly easy. If you're selling because the market dictates it or because you think it's what's going to make you fit in, you're going to fall out of love. It becomes a job. It becomes a chore. You never want, and so you and I have sort of had this conversation, you never want it to be like, the way I think of it, it should always be a passion. It should always be something that you love to do because then you never hate to do it. You know, like I love coming home at night and being like, oh, I've got to take these content photos. I've got to take this because it's all about the creating, it's the curation, it's the how it all ties in together. So I would say find what you love to do that because it will make it so much easier. And I think when you're passionate about something, it really conveys to your audience because they can see the time and the thought that you put into things. And it just makes it so much more enjoyable. Because at the end of the day, you don't have much time, right? Like the days go by so quickly, you get old so quickly. So the time that you do have, you want to do what you enjoy doing. So find your niche, find your market, and you don't need to blow up. Followers is irrelevant, especially nowadays. Back when Instagram started, it was brand awareness, it was credit. It was like, okay, this was social proof here, but you don't need that anymore. If you've got, there's a lot of pages that I follow where they might only have a couple hundred followers or 1,000 followers, but I know their curation is on point. The stuff that they're finding is good. They put the effort in, and I know whenever they post, I'm like, if I get the notification, this person's post, I'm like, oh, I know it's going to be a good tea. There's no filler. I know what they like. It's what I like. We align. Doesn't matter whether they have 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers, 10 followers. Just they know their brand. They know what they love to do, and it conveys to the audience. So that's the most important thing, I think. Find what you love. What's the saying? Do what you love what you do. Something like that, right? So that would be the biggest tip. Find your audience and give to them what you love. Convey yourself through your Instagram. I think that's the best way to do it.
On that note, thank you very much, guys, for watching. I am sat here with Alex. I'll leave all of his details in the description, of course. Go and check him out, and I'll see you on the next video.